So what was the purpose of what I just did? Well, the biggest thing that I just did was I just cleaned up the code significantly. Watch what happens as I rewrite this code to be valid. So now when I hit F5, we get the exact same output that we got before. What I did was I introduced a constructor. A constructor is a special kind of method. If you define a constructor that takes parameters, you must pass those arguments in to the class when you instantiate it. That is why whenever we instantiate a class, we must provide parentheses, because technically every time we instantiate a class, we're invoking a method. And whenever you invoke a method, you need to supply parameters, even if there aren't any parameters to supply. Like for example, on line 50, we still have to invoke this method, we still have to provide these the parameter or the argument list, although there aren't any parameters in this method, so our argument list is empty. That's why we have to have those empty parentheses when we instantiate a list. But if we create a class that has a constructor that takes in argument or parameters, then we are forced to actually pass data in to that class when we create it. So what does this constructor do? Well, this constructor could technically do anything. Again, a constructor is simply a special method. And a constructor can do anything that a method can do. But the most common thing that you would do in a constructor is you would initialize your data. In this case, I'm initializing 3 fields using the 3 parameters that were passed into this method. So again, up here on line 39, when we instantiate a list, we always have to invoke the constructor. The constructor is a special method that always has to be invoked. But not all constructors take parameters, just like not all methods take parameters. So on line 39, the constructor for list does not take any parameters. And because it doesn't, we provide empty parentheses that say that we are invoking a method, but that method takes in no arguments. However, on line 41, because the constructor is defined and because the constructor does require parameters, we have to provide those arguments using the argument list.